Hello, this is John Prince, a field rep at STC. This is going to be a short tutorial on how to certify a course within their learning portal. So after you've logged in, you will go to Manage Certifications. And once you're here, you will click New, because we're going to create a new certification. So the organization that I'm currently using is our test department. And then it has a list of choices of certification type. For this particular demo, I'm going to click RFC Annual. So that's a regular annual course. So I hit continue. And this very much feels a lot like the old RFC system. A lot of the same concepts and rules have just basically been ported over to the new learning portal. Course title, this needs to help if this is a unique title. This will help in managing your courses and finding the ones that you need. So this is a test of the annual RFC. Our class size for this particular course will be 24, and the course will be 8 hours in length. It will be for adult correctional officers. If this course is for your agency only, then you would click yes. If the course is going to be for open enrollment, meaning other departments, or if you're a private provider, you're going to allow other STC folks to participate, then you would put no. And this would help populate the STC catalog, which will be covered in an additional video tutorial. Delivery method, there are two options. These are new. You have the instructor-led training. That's a physical instructor in a classroom leading traditional training. And then CBT, which is computer-based training. This particular class for this test will be instructor-led training. Course summary, again, very much like the old RFC. This would be a summary of what is going to happen in what the course is about. Keywords. Keywords are pretty much like hashtags. They are very important to help users find your particular course. Especially if you have a large catalog of, let's say, 30, 40, or maybe 100 different courses. One example would be gangs. If the course covers all gangs, then you would put gangs. But if it has to do with, let's say, white gangs, then you would also want to include that. Course contact, that's a person that is in charge of this particular course. If the system automatically defaults by putting your information in there. If this information is different, if you have, let's say, a training unit, or if you're a private provider and you have an employee that is in charge of this particular course, you can change that information just by clicking these boxes. Right here, there's a box that will ask you, and this is new, if the course is going to exceed the maximum of $12.50 per hour. Anything above that requires for you to ask for permission from your field rep. And if you can click on this question mark, and it will give you basically our policy. So this course is not going to be over $12.50. Performance objectives, just like in the old RFC, you would put in what your objectives are. Number 1, number 2, and number 3, whatever those are. Test procedures, are you going to have a pre-test and a post-test, whichever that you're particularly using. And then there's the assurance statement at the bottom. Basically, the assurance statements is, as a provider, whether you're an agency or a private provider, that you're going to adhere by STC policies and procedures for delivering training. So I'm going to hit yes, and then I'm going to scroll back to the top of the screen and hit continue. This is basically now created what we will call a working copy. It is not, there is no certification number yet. It doesn't have a certification date. This particular date here is just generated by the system. It doesn't mean anything until you're certified by your field rep. This course is in a working copy state. So what I need to do now is finish the required fields, and they are our instructor and course outline and our schedule. So I need to select an instructor, and those are folks that are inside your system currently now that have the role of an instructor. So we'll use Billy here as our instructor. If you need to learn how to add a user or to add a user as an instructor, there will be additional tutorials on that. So I'm going to hit update. So Billy is now the instructor. Now when I go to the course outline, this is very much like the RFC outline, but with enhancements. So I can click on any of these hourly marks and they will open up these boxes. It's defaulted for 1 hour. You can adjust that from, let's say, 8 to 8:30 or 8 to 12 o'clock, whichever that you're using, and it will adjust the size of these fields. Subject matter, this is basically what you're going to be teaching, and whatever the instruction is, teaching how to use learning portal. Now this box is adjustable. You can make it bigger or smaller. And then there is another little box right here. If you want to open up the text editor to do more enhanced versions of entering text, you can do that here. It's also a great place to cut and paste if you have a lesson plan that's already completed. So hit update. So I need to pick my methodology. So we're going to do lecture, and there's going to be some group discussion and instructor. As you notice, I should have mentioned this earlier, if you hit this box, it is going to put some HTML tags to this. These will go away once I hit add. So there they are. And let's add another hour. So let's say we call this hour 2. And we're going to do a demonstration and group discussion. Got our Billy. Now this area here, agency notes, if you want to send a note to your field rep about this particular block, feel free to do that. So we added that. And now let's, for the simulation, we will say that all 8 hours are covered. So close that. And the last thing I need to do before I can submit this to my field rep is to hit edit on the schedule. I need to add an event. These are basically days that this course will be given. All new courses must have a scheduled date. The system will not allow you to submit an annual course without a scheduled date. So I'll hit new, and 2 boxes will show up here that are completely new to you and us. Is the event ID and subject line. These are for your internal tracking. So if you have an example several different, if you have a certification for, let's say, the range, but you have one cert, but you have, let's say, 2 different ranges in your county. So you may have range A, range B. You can identify those in your submissions, and this is mostly just for your own internal tracking. I can say this is going to be range A, or it could be DTAC B, DTAC C, whatever you want to use as far as ID. This is completely optional. You don't have to use this, and we don't require it. Subject is basically the same as the title, but if you want to give additional information, you can do that. So we're going to just call this Learning Portal. This will become much more useful once the full LMS capabilities are turned on in the Learning Portal down the road. But for right now, just for the certification, these 2 are optional. Location, wherever this particular training is going to take place, you would put that there. The starting date and time, you click select and a small window will pop up, and you will be able to go through and click when this course will start. It's going to start September 21st. The time is right now is set for 8 o'clock in the morning. And then you will select the ending time. It defaults to 1 hour. So this particular course is 8 hours, so we'll say it ends at 5 with a lunch. Now details, you could add additional details. Again, this is more or less for down the road when we start using the full functionality of the LMS, but you could add things for your students down the road, like bring your gun belt or duty gear, something to that effect. So these settings down here, you can ignore these at this time being. Again, this is future LMS feature sets, so you can, once those get turned on, there'll be additional training and tutorials about that. So we hit update. Now the date has been put in there, and I hit close. So I have completed all of these required components. I've selected an instructor, I have a course outline, and a schedule. So that is all that's going to be required of me to submit this particular course. Something to keep in mind, you're going to see these other fields: versions, change history, and attachments. As the course is certified and recertified and made changes to, this will create additional versions of this course. This is probably one of the most exciting features of this LMS, is that let's say this particular course 5 years from now, if you were an agency and you needed to see what the course looked like 5 years ago, there would be a list of the courses, and you would be able to click one for that particular time frame, and it would show you what that course looked like 5 years ago, what the outline looked like, who the instructors were, once the full LMS is, who went to that class, what users attended, the whole shebang. Change history basically shows all the changes to the course and when those changes were made. Attachments, this will be down the road some further, but basically when you build a course and you want to attach things that your students can see prior to the training, maybe it's a map, maybe you want them to view the policy. If you say the course is a defensive tactics course and you want them to review the defensive tactics policy prior to training, or just have it available, you can attach it here. Again, there will be additional training on these feature sets as they turn on. So this course is done. It's ready to go. I will hit submit, and it is now, this went from a working copy, now is submitted pending approval. So now it shows up on the field reps database, and they can then go through and certify the course. That concludes on how to build a regular RFC for annual training. If you have any questions, feel free to contact your field rep, and they will gladly assist you.